going on, everyone? It's Nero again, here for you from Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and this week's episode of Dear Nero. It's a weekly series here on my channel where you guys send me in fan mail, fan questions if you will. If I feel it's a good question, an entertaining question, I'll go ahead and answer it. Now before I get into the questions here, I will do a quick cover on the gameplay. So what we're doing is kind of like spawn trapping-ish. Right? This is how we used to play Domination, way back when. Way back before all the kinds of different spawn flips and stuff started being implemented by the game developers. What you would do is you and your team take over 2/3 of the map, then you give 1/3 of the map to the enemy team, and you do not let them out of that 1/3 area. And that's how you sit back, you pick them all off, and it's like, it's domination. You're dominating the other team. And it's a pretty fun way to play. This is an old gameplay. It's been on my PC for a long time, back when I was on a light machine gun kick. You guys may remember that, where I was like only posting LMG gameplay. It was back from way back then. So it's a rather old gameplay, but I think you guys all enjoy it. And my favorite aspect of it's a long gameplay, because I got lots of good questions here to answer for you guys. And we're going to start with this first one. He writes, Dear Nero, what are your thoughts on Microsoft changing the Xbox policies on being able to trade games? Do you think that they have gained little or most of their fan base back? P.S. Congrats on 60,000 subscribers. Wyatt from Tennessee. So Wyatt, thank you for the 60,000 subscriber. Congrats. That's kind of neat. Hitting 60K is kind of a cool thing. But what I think about Microsoft being able to allow us to trade our games on the Xbox One, I'm actually going to go ahead and go a little bit further with that, because the whole trading games thing wasn't a big deal for me. The big deal for me was actually the always online DRM. They got rid of it, and now we don't have those 24-hour checks. Now, for me, I was in favor of the always online, and I was, and here's why. What they were trying to do with the always online thing, right? They were trying to cut down a little bit, try to cut down on piracy a little bit, which I don't think that was a huge thing. They're trying to cut down on piracy, and they were also trying to kill the whole selling used games kind of thing. And by doing this, they were hoping to usher us into a new era of digital distribution, and the ultimate goal was going to be Steam for the console. Now, Steam is such an amazing service on the PC. Steam summer sales are coming up where you get games for ridiculously dirt cheap, and we could be having that for our consoles, but people don't like change. They don't like the idea of change. They're too bad that they can't just go and buy and sell used games, which is just a rip-off in itself. I'm telling you guys, it is. Buying used games is pretty good, right? You maybe save $10 on buying a used game, but selling your used game, you'll get like $5 for a new game that you could sell for $30 on eBay. Buying and selling used games was really not a good thing in terms of GameStop. But so many people on the internet just like, no, Xbox is horrible, Xbox is bad, PlayStation Nation. And the worst part of it for me is like, if you like the PlayStation, that's fine. If you like the Xbox, that's fine. But the worst part of it for me is like there is this unneeded bias and hatred towards the Xbox. And you guys have an app called iFunny? There's an app I have on my iPhone. I'm not sure where all it's available, but I have it on my iPhone. My brother has it on his iPod. It's an app called iFunny. You go there, there's like featured photos and new photos and whatnot. Just funny pictures. That's all it is. It's called iFunny. And every day, just about every day, you'll find a new picture that is basically, pro PS4, bad Xbox One. Right, every single day, and they always come out about not being able to, buy and sell used games. It's always about always having to be online, all this, that, and the other. And these come out every day. Like I'm talking like today, yesterday, day before, and these are all after Microsoft actually came out and said, you know what, we're not doing the always online DRM. We're going to require you to have a physical disc in your Xbox at all times now, the way it is on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. Even after they said all that, people are still making these memes and these pictures and these photos and whatnot. And it's because there's like this giant population of people on the internet that don't understand that they don't know what they're talking about. Right? They just kind of hear one thing and then they go with it. It's like the cool thing to hate on the Xbox. And, it's just like there's just giant bias against the Xbox. Do I think that they've gotten their fan base back? I think they've won back some people, but probably not all of them. Because it's almost like a meme now to hate on the Xbox One. And because there's just this giant bias, Xbox bad, PlayStation good. And biases aren't always a bad thing. I'm biased as hell. I'm actually really biased. I'm going to go ahead and answer it in this question. We're going to stick with that question. We're going to go on to the next one. He writes, Dear Nero, where do you stand on the thing between the Xbox One and the PS4 now that Xbox has fixed the mistakes? After release, which one will you be playing more? From Mark. So I have a bias, and I'm buying the Xbox One, and I told you guys I was buying the Xbox One like 2 or 3 months before we even knew it was called the Xbox One, back when we thought it was called the Xbox 720. For me, I don't like change. I like the dashboard. I like the controller. I like the friends list. I like the achievement system. That right there is more than enough for me to buy the Xbox One. That's why I'm going to do it. That's no hate on the PlayStation. I've tried the PlayStation 3. It wasn't for me. You know, the PlayStation Home, is that what you call like your main screen, the home? I'm not sure what it's called. That wasn't for me. It was too different than the dashboard. I didn't like the way it was set up for me. I didn't like the controller. It was really small. I have really big hands. The controller was too small for me. I just didn't care for the PlayStation. The microphones was a big thing too, on the PS3 when I was playing it. I bought, if you guys don't know, I tried quitting the Xbox. Like back in the day, I was really disappointed by Modern Warfare 3, and I wanted to go back and play COD 4 and World at War, but they were ridiculously hacked on the Xbox 360. And I heard they weren't hacked on the PS3, so I'm like, you know what? I've been playing the Xbox for a while. Maybe we'll change it up and make gaming a little bit more fun. Let's switch over to the PS3. I'll sell my Xbox, buy a PS3. So I bought PS3. I owned it for a week, and within that week, I took it back because it was too different from the Xbox. I didn't like it. And I made a video, and that video is actually blown up, has over 100,000 views, where I basically state to you guys, it doesn't matter. I don't think it's going to matter. Well, at the time, I didn't think it was going to matter what features and functions each console has. If you own the PS3, you're probably going to own a PS3 or PS4. If you own an Xbox 360, you're probably going to own an Xbox One. That was just from my experience. You know, I like the way the Xbox is set up, and I'm going to buy the Xbox One. I have no interest in buying a PlayStation 4 because it's going to be similar to the PS3, which I'm not used to. I'm used to the Xbox 360, so I'm buying the Xbox One because it's similar to the Xbox 360. That was my whole thing. I'm biased towards it, and that doesn't sound like a bad bias, does it? That I'm not like, well, the PlayStation 3 has this, it's fucking stupid, this, that, the other, it's stupid. No, I'm not hating on the console. I'm just like, you know, I like the Xbox 360, I'm going to get the Xbox One. And everyone else, it seems like on the PlayStation side, it's all about making fun of the Xbox, which is, I don't know, maybe it's because so many Xbox 360 players made fun of PS3 players over the course of its lifetime. Maybe now they're getting payback. I don't know. But either way, to answer both questions, in short, even though we spent this entire Dear Nero on this question, it was bad. I wish they wouldn't have changed the systems. I wish we would have kept... I wanted Steam on the Xbox. That's what I wanted. But we're not going to get that. But it was a decision I didn't want them to make, but it was kind of the one they had to make because people are ignorant. And who I think is winning between the two, I definitely think the PS4 is winning. I don't think that's a question. Is if the PlayStation 4 is winning? But yeah, kind of stinks. That was a long-winded. That was 2 questions. We're almost 8 minutes in. let's change it up here. Let's try a different question. He writes, Dear Nero, I've just recently purchased an HD capture card and microphone for commentaries. I posted some videos privately with commentary and showed them to some of my friends. I got some feedback that I need to improve my commentaries. My question is, how do I get better at commentaries? Is there a method to your madness? In a good way, of course. It just feels awkward staring at my computer screen and talking out loud. Any advice would be helpful. Thanks, and keep up the great work. Jorge from California. So Jorge, I know how to pronounce your name. I took Spanish. See, it looks like George with a J, but I know it's Jorge because I took Spanish 1 and I failed that class, by the way. So it is weird. I'll admit it's weird when you first start commentating. I'm sitting in my room right now and I'm talking literally to nobody. Literally nobody besides my little microphone that I wanted to touch. Right there, I really wanted to touch my microphone, but it would make a really loud noise if I did touch it, so I'm a good thing I didn't. It comes with time. When you're speaking, it's picture yourself speaking in like an auditorium almost. While the auditorium may not be full right away, you may have only a couple people there. Eventually, that video, that speech, if you will, has the potential to reach tens of millions of people possibly. You know, I wish I would have known this back then. My old commentaries, I feel as though were pretty bad. That's my own honest review of myself, is I don't believe my old commentaries were very good. And way back when, I didn't like put a whole lot of effort in my videos, and a lot of them have blown up. One of them was a 200-0 domination match where he shut out the other team in domination match. Like, we held all 3 flags the entire match, won the match 200-0. And I don't think that was a very good commentary. It definitely wasn't my best work. Yet that video has just under 700,000 views. 700,000 people have seen that video, and it wasn't my best work. And those are potentially lost subscribers. So basically what you look at is you want to make sure that every video you do is the best video you can do, and make sure that when you're speaking, that you're speaking to people. Don't say, Hey guys, this is going on. Don't do too many inside jokes. Don't do things like that. Just do things, speak to an audience, be professional, and I think you'll be just fine. It just comes with time. I get it. It feels weird at first, but after a while, if it's something you really enjoy and something you want to keep working into, you'll get over that and you'll get used to it. And it'll just become a regular routine, which you really enjoy. And I know we're running over the gameplay here, but I feel as though I spent so much time on that Xbox question that I wanted to keep on going and do some more questions. So I'm going to throw some filler gameplay up here for you guys, and we're going to answer some other questions. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I'm a long-time subscriber, and I remember last summer you talking about how much you enjoy history and hate math, which I just so happen to be the same way. I was wondering if you could go back to any decade in time, which decade would it be and why? Much support, Michael from Colorado. Well, Michael, I'm gonna let you know right now, buddy. I want to go back at all. I don't think I'd. It's tricky. I could go for an hour on this question. So, I've often wondered what it would be like if I were to take everything I know now and go back to when I was maybe 10 years old. Picture yourself at 10 years old with all the knowledge that you have right now, right? Now, that may mean more and less for different people. For me, I'm 21 years old, so for me, that means a lot. I know a lot more than I did when I was 10. Some of you may be a lot younger. Some of you may be 10 when you're listening to these videos. It may not make sense to you. But if I were to go back to when I was 10, what grade's that? Like, I really don't know. Is that like third or fourth or fifth? Something in there. I'm back in elementary school, right? If I were to go back in elementary school with the knowledge I have now, I'd be a freaking genius. I would be a social god. You know, because when you're younger, you already understand things. You just learn things. You're kind of like socially awkward a little bit. A lot of people are when they're young. Right now, I'd be like a social god. I'd also be a pedophile. So I guess there's that, because you couldn't. My 10-year-old self couldn't date any 10-year-old girls because I'd have the mind of a 21-year-old, and that would just be weird. See, it's weird to think about going back in time. That's kind of off topic compared to what you asked. My favorite decade, it would be the 80s, because I like the music and I like the movies that came out of the 80s. I like the popular culture of the 80s. For one, girls' butts. You remember their freaking pants? They're like up to their belly buttons. Those were the greatest pants ever, and they need to make a comeback. But two, culturally, it's just it'd be way different than what we got now. Right? I'm not sure if this was during the 80s or just before the 80s, but they used to have these landline telephones where basically like multiple people living on the same road would share a telephone line. And what that means is you pick up the phone and you'll be listening to the conversation of your neighbor down the road. I don't want that. That'd be weird. Two, internet's like next to nothing back then, right? Hobbies back then were like driving your car around and drinking, right? It was different than what we have now. I mean, I guess that's kind of an unfair assumption. That's just based upon the 80s movies I've watched, where just about every one of them involves a party. But yeah, it was just culturally different. And then technology, of course, and medicine has definitely gone way past between the 1980s and now, have just completely exploded. I think the here and now is always the best time. And I think it's going to get better in terms of technology and medical advancements as we keep on going. Now, culturally, I'd want to live in the 80s. If I could live in the 1980s with 2013 technology and medicine, yeah, that sounds awesome. Because right now, like, the culture is, like, I'm up in the club, swag, YOLO, 420 dank, trick shots. I don't like that. I don't like that at all, and I feel socially different than a lot of people. I hate rap. I hate it. And so many people are like that. I'm different. If you were to go in my car right now and put the key in the ignition and turn it on, it would be Buzz 94 and 107. It's a classic rock station. I like classic rock. It's good music. It's a lot better than hip hop and wub wubs. But that's just my thoughts. And the final question, to answer your question, basically, I think the 80s, but with current technology. And the final question, I thought this one was funny because I know your freaking YouTube handle, you jerk. The question is, Dear Nero, why won't you man up and admit that SB Vicious is better at Call of Duty than you? And that came from SB Vicious himself. His YouTube channel is PyroF7 or something. He doesn't really have videos, but I know his username, right? And he's like, why don't you admit that SB Vicious is better than you? I'm wondering if he tried to get the one up on me and like make it think that an actual like subscriber was writing that question. But either way, Vicious, you're not better than me at Call of Duty. You get lucky. And if it weren't for me, you wouldn't be dropping Blackbirds all the time, right? You may get the Blackbirds first a lot of the time, but I keep them coming, right? You may get the first one, but but I roll them out after that. That's kind of how our gameplay system works here. But hope you guys all enjoy this week's episode of Dear Nero. I don't know what I put on for the filler gameplay, but I'm assuming it's something Borderlands-y because it's really, really fun to play Borderlands. You guys should definitely check it out. You guys should definitely watch my Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep gameplay. It's really fun stuff. But I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you guys would like your question featured on next week's episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube with the tagline reading Dear Nero. If it's a good question, an entertaining question, I will do my best to go ahead and answer it. And you guys actually did really good. I asked you guys to send as many questions as possible because we only had 3 days, and you guys sent in like 90 questions. It was ridiculous. And I don't know. I think I'm gonna start replying to some of these because I can only do like 3 or 4 questions a video, and if I'm getting 90 freaking questions every week, I feel as though there's a lot of unanswered questions out there. So maybe I'm gonna start replying to some of them PMs on YouTube because I don't usually do that for Dear Nero, but I think I'm gonna start. But either way, hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Remember to send in your questions for next week's episode. Remember to leave a rating where you guys feel the video deserves. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.